everyone. For my research paper, I chose to look at a feminist approach to advertising, Femvertising in the digital age. The current trend right now in advertising, as far as portrayal of women, is sort of leaning towards this idea of brands taking a stance on feminism and the empowerment of women. Yet there are also still advertisements that revolve around very outdated views of femininity and stereotypes. So in my paper, I wanted to perform an analysis of all of these different social implications for advertising. Hi. First, let's talk about the idea of building a brand. Establishing brand recognition and building a branded image is an essential goal for advertisers. A brand's image can be personified through a gendered personality that involves physical appearances and how things look. This relates to a reliance on femininity in order to attract consumers. In many markets, like beauty and fashion, women are a key target market. Advertisers utilize attractive ads to direct consumers to their products. This can be problematic in that many women are often portrayed as objects of consumption within ads. Advertising has flourished within the current digital environment. Digital ads provide highly engaging visuals for consumers. Digital advertising has been described as the backbone of the marketing mix, as it garners a substantial amount of revenue globally. This is evident by the increase in online digital advertising expenses from brands within the health, beauty, and household sectors by over 180% in just the time period from 2016 to 2018 alone. These brands comprise a major portion of the advertising industry, and it's important to note that the female market is primarily targeted by these industries. Before I get started on the research that I found on women in advertising, I want to ask the question, what does it mean to be a beautiful woman? Our cultural definitions for concepts of beauty can largely, in part, come from mass media portrayals, and this advertising can play a very impactful role in how we make these meanings, as advertisers have attempted to portray the physical characteristics of what it should mean to be a beautiful woman in order to ultimately sell their products. The literature on women in advertising has concerned traditional forms of print advertising, like magazines. The researchers have argued that the female body has been exploited by the advertising industry for its sexual appeal, and this has been going on since approximately the 1950s. Overall, this has perpetuated negative stereotypes for women and exaggerated gender roles. Past research on media effects has looked at how this can take a negative toll on how women perceive themselves, along with issues regarding body image, through hypersexualized images and objectification that goes on within advertising. Research on contemporary forms of advertising has called attention to the negative implications of how women are portrayed in ads, as well as offering solutions or intervention to the industry itself. Different experiments have been conducted to better understand how consumers react upon initial exposure to women in ads. One experiment hypothesized that any potential risk could be mitigated by the inclusion of warning labels on images that cautioned consumers that this ad contained unrealistic representations of women. Women in the study were shown ads and then given snacks to measure any possible short-term effects on their eating behaviors. However, the study found that warning labels were not actually effective as a tool for intervention. In fact, the warning labels drew attention to the fact that the images contained depictions of women that were unrealistic. Another experiment within my review conducted research that involved sexualized images of women in fragrance brand ads. Participants were shown images and they were required to denote their reaction along with any possible feminist attitudes that they held prior to the study. This experiment offered the idea that feminist attitudes can function as an antecedent variable for ethical judgment and ad responses in turn. Femvertising is a current trend in digital advertising as a proponent of the feminist movement. Femvertising has been defined as advertising that challenges traditional female advertising stereotypes. In other words, the negative stereotypes and gender roles that were traditionally perpetuated by advertising has been deconstructed by newer forms of advertising trends. Overall, these type of ads have a highly moving and impactful rhetoric that empowers women and leads them to feel recognized. Femvertising can create success for brands through positive brand impressions. Various lifestyle and beauty brands have shifted to this model of advertising, such as Dove, Aerie, and Always. Here you will see images from some of those campaigns. Research on femvertising is not exhaustive, as this is a relatively recent concept. However, studies have shown that there are both positive and negative implications for this type of advertising. Studies have shown that femvertisements contain signs and semiotics that associate with feminist ideas of concepts like self-surveillance, individualization, loving yourself for who you are, and circulating ideas of empowerment. Femvertising can encourage women to become aware of their physical appearance in a way that's not beneficial to their self-image. It points out problems with the body in a way that other advertisements did not actively promote. A positive instance, however, of femvertising was found within the Always Like a Girl campaign that disrupts the patriarchal and harmful effects within traditional ads. The Dove campaign for Real Beauty is also a positive example of femvertising in that it encouraged consumer discourse, and women went online in response to this video to talk about what it means to be beautiful and their praises of the ad, but yet they were also skeptical of the motivations behind the brand. Overall, femvertising has generally been considered a positive trend within advertising and a very positive progression of how women have been portrayed within ads. As you see here in this image, there's a contrast between an old ad from Dove and their new Real Beauty campaign. As you can see, there has definitely been an improvement in the way that this brand portrays women in their ads. However, there are considerations for the negative implications that arise from femvertising. Critics of this trend point out the idea that brands are exploiting the ideas of feminism, and critical activists that have made major involvements within this movement, and this is exploited to sell products. The Guardian explained that advertising was once bent on selling us sex, but is now selling us its disgust with sexism. Scholars and consumers both have expressed their concern for corporate agendas and whether or not these organizations truly support the feminist movement. Overall, femvertising creates feminism as a product that can be packaged and sold to consumers. Femvertising can be negative for women in that attention is drawn within these ads to physical features like curves and cellulite as an interruption to their feminine beauty. In regard to feminist theory, a post-feminist media culture can be created from femvertisements. This falsely implicates that feminism has been achieved in society. However, feminist activists would argue the opposite, especially those within the current fourth wave. Femvertisements show an idealized version of reality. In many cases, storytelling ads romanticize how women experience everyday life events in a way that this experience can be commercially consumed. But it is important to note that feminist femvertisements are a success within the advertising industry as they redefine the beauty myth. More and more women are portrayed accurately and realistically, and women can resonate with these portrayals. Millennials and feminist third wavers, especially, have been found to choose media outlets that confirm their own feminist attitudes. Brands can experience success through femvertising by reaching consumers, but yet at the same time providing social commentary in a positive and empowering way for women. Here you'll find my list of references that I included within this presentation. Thank you for joining me for my presentation. I hope that you have enjoyed learning about women in advertising and femvertising. I know that I certainly enjoyed the research process, so I hope that there was something within this presentation that really interested you as well. Thank you.